Let's talk about Geo in Genshin Impact. Okay, so there's a lot to talk about in terms of Geo, but let me kind of go back into the past year so we can kind of talk about where it's come from and where it has currently ended up at. Zhongli. This character dropped in 1.1 back during a very dark time, I guess, in Genshin, at least for the devs. And I remember when Zhongli first came out, and there was a lot of controversy with this character. He's too weak, he's not strong enough, and there was a lot of backlash, especially from the CN community side of things, in terms of the devs not making him that strong as an Archon. Personally, I didn't think he was that weak, okay? But anyways, he ended up getting buffed in 1.3, if I remember correctly, and they also buffed the Geo Resonance. But if we look at another element that I would like to get into with Electro, is that Electro was in a very bad spot. I want to say after that Geo buff, people started to realize that Electro wasn't as good as I guess individuals thought it should have been. And anyways, there was obviously exceptions such as the character I'm on right now, Raiden Shogun. But even before Raiden Shogun, all we really had was what? Keqing, Fischl, we had Razor, Lisa, and I might be missing one character, but that was essentially it. We didn't have much Electro characters to actually work with, as well as reactions being kind of dog doo-doo. Electro was in a very bad spot, and we're talking pre-Inazuma, so before 3.0. They eventually ended up adding Raiden again 2.1, which is obviously an exception to this. She's the Archon of Electro. She's insanely broken. They ended up adding Sora in that patch as well for Raiden Shogun, and they ended up adding, I think in 2.5 with Yai and Kuki in 2.7, if I remember correctly. And don't get me wrong, Yai is a pretty strong character in my opinion, even before Dendro. Obviously she's a lot more stronger with Dendro reactions. And Kuki, we don't really talk about her. She obviously did not perform that well prior to Dendro. Electro was just really in that bad spot, and then eventually 3.0 dropped, and Electro got buffed because of Dendro, and the reactions that Dendro amplified in terms of Electro reactions through Hyperbloom and Aggravate, which made Electro a lot more stronger. And characters that were kind of just sitting there for a good while, Keqing, Kuki, and Yai, got insanely amplified and buffed through Aggravate and Hyperbloom team comps. But coming back in terms of Geo is just in a very bad spot right now as a whole, as essentially all they really have for Geo is Mono Geo. If you have Goro, then you run Goro, and then you'll most likely be running 4 Geo characters with Goro, right? And that's essentially it. There's basically no diversity. Prior to Goro being added in 2.3 on the Ito banner, I guess people were running double Geo, double Pyro. The Goro got added, and now we have Mono Geo, and that's essentially it. I still don't know why Hoyoverse did not decide to add in Geo and Dendro reactions. It just doesn't really make any sense to me. I think the reason was it was too complicated, but it's like, come on now. I feel like with the non-reaction of Geo and Dendro reacting with each other, all I think that's really left for potential, I guess, Geo buff, I think it's the weakest element in the game, and I'm sure many of you guys can agree. If you have made it this far into the video, leave a comment down below and let me know whether you think Geo is the weakest element in the game right now, which I strongly agree it is. But yeah, in terms of Geo, what I think they will do is most likely make a Geo Nilou. Alright, hear me out for a second. Hear me out. You know, Nilou is a Bloom reacting character, and she changes Dendro cores into Bountiful cores, which essentially, if you do not know, or maybe you're not playing Genshin and you don't know this, with Dendro and Hydro, once they react together, they create Bloom, which leaves this little green seed on the ground, which is a Dendro core, and Nilou, through her kit, she creates these Bountiful cores instead of Dendro cores, which basically just proc a lot quicker, so it does damage a lot faster. Coming back in terms of Geo, right? What I think they will do is make a Geo Nilou for Crystallize. And this is just a suggestion. They may not do this, they may do it, I don't know. I'm not a developer, okay? But what I think they will do is have a Geo Nilou that will proc Crystallize. So instead of running Mono Geo with Goro and running 3 or 4 Geo characters, probably gonna be a 5-star Geo character, I would like to assume. So you'd run this 5-star Geo character, and when you have like any other element that can proc with Geo and proc Crystallize, maybe it could do like some explosion of damage or some crazy amplifying damage over time, or whatever the case is. I personally think they're going to make a Geo Nilou in the future. Again, I could be wrong, I could be right, I don't know. I was really trying to think of like what else they could possibly do with Geo now that they have not made a Geo and Dendro reaction. I really can't think of any possibility of what else they could do. Obviously, if they wanted to make a Geo Dendro reaction, they would have done so already in 3.0. They didn't. I don't think it will ever happen. I have no hope even in the tank whatsoever. But yeah, that is pretty much it. I just think Geo is in a very bad spot. In my personal opinion, it's my least favorite element. I don't really like it that much, but at the same time, I feel like you Geo boys, you Geo mains are getting completely completely shafted, okay? Completely decimated. And it's kind of sad to see in my opinion. It's not that it's necessarily a weak element in terms of like it can't do anything in the game. Because don't get me wrong, you can go around and run around Unga Bunga Ito and delete anything in the game, but it's just comparing the element as a whole compared to other elements, right? You look at Cryo, Reverse Melt, Freeze, busted. You look at Electro, now with danger reactions in the game, Aggravate is busted, Hyper Bloom is broken. You look at Hydro, Vape is busted, Bloom is busted, etc, etc. I'm not gonna go through all the elements in the game, but you get the point. Animo, Swirl, CC, this crazy elements, and then you have Geo, this kind of sitting there in the corner on the side. But yeah, that is essentially the end of the video. Hopefully you guys all enjoyed. Let me know in the comment section down below what you guys think of Geo. Do you guys think it's the worst element? Do you guys think it's not the worst? I will read all the comments as usual, so leave a comment if you like. But yeah, that's the end of the video. Like and subscribe, all the good stuff, and I'll see you boys in the next one.
Told my brothers one day we gon' make it. We just gotta grind for that paycheck. Mama told me one day I'll be famous. Remember when she used to say she hate this? That ended with life when I say shit.